Let's go over some profitable copywriting techniques by breaking down a successful sales letter. Now, before we dive in, I want to set the expectation that this is going to be a free flow conversation of me analyzing the sales letter, reading through it and analyzing it, and pointing out the elements that you will be able to leverage for yourself, the elements that make this sales letter successful. Now, these are elements that are to be used as tools that you can stow away in your copywriting toolbox, except now you have access to them for life. All right, so let's dive in. Let me pull up the sales letter. You should be able to see it now. Now, this is a sales letter that I've reviewed long time ago, and I want to give a shout out to Shaba, another YouTuber, another copywriter. He actually did something that I appreciate, and this is where I saw this sales letter for the first time, where he broke down a bunch of sales letters. Actually various sales letters, and he did a great job. So if you want to see his perspective, you can go to his channel. But for now, I'm going to read through this and share with you the elements that I point out that I believe made this successful, as well as the elements that you can leverage for yourself, which are profitable copywriting techniques. So first things first, let's dive into this sales letter just as a whole. All right, so we see it. We see an image of the blue blocker. By the way, this is a sales letter by Joe Sugarman. We see the blue blocker. We see the headline, Vision Breakthrough, right? There's some other things that I notice, which are the bolded text, the bolded sub headlines. Couldn't believe eyes, sunglass danger, don't be confused, dramatic difference. Now, this is done by design. This isn't accidentally uh, executed. This is a copywriting technique that is very profitable because it re-engages people who are just scanning. Okay, he makes the text, the letter itself, scannable, so people that maybe they're slightly interested but they just they don't really want to read, they'll see these subheadlines and be like, "Whoa, don't be confused. Don't be confused about what? Sunglass danger. Oh, I own a pair of sunglasses. What's the danger with it with sunglasses? The dramatic difference. What's the dramatic, like, essentially what these subheadlines are doing is first re-engaging someone who wouldn't have otherwise read from the beginning and getting them to read from the beginning the entire letter. And then second, it's piquing their curiosity, right? They just have to know what it is. Now, let's go back. Let's start from the top, okay? I'm just going to read through it and then I'll point things out. So, vision breakthrough. Well, you have to keep in mind, even nowadays, breakthrough, pretty much anyone is open to learning about a breakthrough. They're always seeing what's the best next new shiny thing that they can get, what's going to give them an edge. So using the word breakthrough in your headline, or using that as a word to capture attention, it's going to work for the most part. And then you see underneath that, when I put on the pair of glasses, what I saw, I could not believe, nor will you. So now curiosity again is being piqued. It's your curiosity is spiking through the roof, right? So you're just like, whoa, what is it that he couldn't believe? And he's saying that I won't believe. Who's he to say that I won't believe what's about to be said, right? So it makes you want to read. It captures you. It hooks you in. All right. So the sales letter by Joe Sugarman. Let's get into it. I am about to tell you a true story. If you believe me, you'll be well rewarded. If you don't believe me, I will make it worth your while to change your mind. Let me explain. Okay, this is very powerful. Okay, just the first couple of lines here. I'm about to tell you a true story. Okay, it's factual. It's not fiction. It's nonfiction. It's straightforward. Here's the truth. Do you want to know the truth? It is worth your time to learn this truth because you will be well rewarded. Okay, how will I be rewarded? Right? The reader starts to develop this inner monologue, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. It makes them think, okay, well, I like to be rewarded. I want to be well rewarded. And this is a true story. Okay, I guess I should listen. And if I don't believe him, he's saying that he's gonna make it worth my while to change my mind. All right, well, let me dive in and see. Okay, so that's just the first paragraph. Powerful, right? Now, let's move on. Len is a friend of mine who has an eye for good products. One day he called excited about a pair of sunglasses he owned. It's so incredible, he said. When you first look through a pair, you won't believe it. What will I see? I asked. What could be so incredible? Len continued. When you put on these glasses, your vision improves. Objects appear sharper, more defined. Everything takes on an enhanced 3D effect. And it's not my imagination. I just want you to see for yourself. Okay, so let's stop it there. Those two paragraphs, or two, three paragraphs, whatever. It's very powerful because now it breaks down that barrier, it puts the reader's guard down, right? Because now he's just telling a story, a true story. And first of all, he set that expectation. He's going to tell a true story. And then he went and told his story. So that's one element right there, is the fact that he did something he said he was going to do. That builds trust with the reader. And getting these little micro touch points of trust being built in, overall, once they get to the end of the letter, once they read the call to action, they're more likely to convert because they already have that trust being built. I say I'm going to do this, and then I do it. Okay? It's just those little things that make a difference. Then the next element is that he's telling a story. And he's telling a story from the perspective of skepticism. Okay? Because his friend came to him and he's like, oh my gosh, I have something incredible. And Joe's like, dude, what do you mean? What will I see? You said I won't believe it, like, but what will I see? Like, I don't really believe you, man. You gotta tell me. And then he breaks it down even further by sharing the fact that his friend stated, I just want you to see for yourself. This is actually going to build up in conjunction with the end of the sales letter, right? It's going to tie up very nicely. So those are a couple of elements just to recap, where he's building trust by saying he's going to do something, then he actually does it. So he's backing up and building up that trust. Second, he's telling a story. He's telling a story from the perspective of skepticism, which is most likely what the reader is experiencing right off the bat. So that's another thing. He's meeting the reader where they're at. That's another element. When you write copy and you want to write profitable copy, you need to understand where your reader is at and meet them there. Meet them in their inner monologue. Okay? Continue the conversation in their mind and then shift their mindset over time. Let's carry on. So, couldn't believe eyes. When I received the sunglasses and put them on, I couldn't believe my eyes. Okay, he just hooked them in. You know, you're reading this and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, what couldn't he believe? Like they've already said this multiple times. And the right below the headline, the subheadline, they've said it in the story. They've reiterated this idea that it's just unbelievable what you see, right? So when I received the sunglasses and put them on, I couldn't believe my eyes. I kept taking them off and putting them on to see if indeed what I was seeing was indeed actually sharper or if my imagination was playing tricks on me. Okay, so he's emphasizing this unbelievable aspect to the sunglasses. Like, oh my gosh, they're sharper. You know, he revealed that a little bit. They're sharper. Is my mind playing tricks on me? Right? He's still a little bit skeptical. So he's doing things that the average person would do when if they were to try it on for themselves. And he's still approaching it from that perspective of skepticism, right? But my vision improved. It was obvious. I kept putting on my cherished $100 pair of sunglasses and comparing them. Okay, something powerful just happened in that line. But my vision improved. Okay, there's a benefit that he instated in the copy. It was obvious, okay? I kept putting on my cherished $100 pair of sunglasses and comparing them. That sentence alone. I kept putting on my cherished $100 pair of sunglasses and comparing them. So I don't know exactly when this was written. I think, okay, seeing at the bottom, like 1987. $100 back in the 80s is a lot more in today's money. So that what he's doing essentially first is he's price anchoring, and then he's comparing it to something that is much more expensive, right? I'm assuming $100 pair of sunglasses back then was a premium pair of sunglasses. So he's comparing it to something that everyone kind of already knows. We already know that $100 pair of sunglasses is of premium quality. And this is actually outshining the premium quality of sunglasses that you paid $100 for. Okay, it's very powerful because now you're shifting the mindset and you're increasing the curiosity of the reader. But on top of that, he's price anchoring because you'll see at the very end, you can see in the bottom right corner, like the aluminum deluxe is $69.95. So now you're seeing $100 pair of sunglasses. It's actually better than this premium quality sunglasses, but it's also cheaper. All right, so let's continue on. They didn't compare. I was very impressed. Everything appeared sharper, more defined, and indeed had a greater three-dimensional look to it. So now everything that he was skeptical about with his friend Len, because his buddy Len was like, "Oh, objects appear sharper, more defined, everything takes on an enhanced 3D effect, whatever." Now he's going back and restating that it is indeed true. It is factual that everything does appear sharper, that everything is more defined, and that it indeed has a greater three-dimensional look to it. And so he's just confirming that, and now he's overcoming his own skepticism. And when the reader reads this, they're overcoming that skepticism in their own mind. But what did this product do that made my vision so much better? I found out. So that's the natural next question, right? That's the next logical step is, okay, but if that is true, then why is it true? Right? So when you're writing copy and you want to write profitable copy, you need to address certain objections that your specific reader has. Okay, because that is going to make all the difference. Is when you can one by one, hey, objection one, got it covered. Objection two, got it covered. Objection like, and then once they get to the end of the letter or the end of an email or the end of an ad, whatever it is that you're writing copy for, they're going they're gonna have zero objections to throw at you. It's just gonna be a no-brainer at that point. And when you have a great offer, boom, conversion happening. So let's move on. I found out the sunglasses called blockers. Okay, now he's introducing the sunglasses. The sunglasses called blue blockers filter out the ultraviolet and blue spectrum light waves from the sun. You've often heard the color blue used for expressions of bad mood, such as Blue Monday or I have the blues. Apparently, the color blue for centuries has been considered a rather depressing color. Okay, what's going on in this block of text? First, he's introducing the product, and he's doing it casually, right? And he's just educating a little bit. You've often heard the color blue used for expressions of bad moods, whatever. He's anchoring it to this idea that it's depressing. Usually it has a negative connotation, the color blue, whatever, because in the next paragraph, he's going to explain things and he's going to actually flip things in a way where now the reader is thinking, okay, blue is actually positive. Um, like getting rid of blue is positive for me. And so he just wants to carry on this connotation that blue is not good for you. Okay, he's subtly, inserting that belief system into the reader. For eyesight, blue is not a good color. Or for eyesight, blue is not a good color too. There are several reasons. First, the blue rays have one of the shortest wavelengths in the visible spectrum. Red is the longest. As a result, the color blue will focus slightly in front of the retina, which is the focusing screen in your eye. By blocking the blue from the sunlight through a special filtration process and only letting those rays through that indeed focus clearly on the retina, objects appear to be sharper and clearer. All right, so in this block of text, he's educating. And something that I want to point out that I'm not going to dive deeply into right now, something that you should research on your own, is this idea of neuroplasticity. Okay, neuroplasticity is this concept that when you were learning a new idea, you're forming new connections in your brain to solidify this idea. All right? And you're able to change or mold these new connections. Now, what copywriters do really well is that they leverage this concept of neuroplasticity, whether it's on purpose or not on purpose. But when you become the person that teaches someone something for the first time, you are the one that will be cemented as an authority in their mind because you have formed that new connection. You are the catalyst for that new connection in their brain being formed for this new level of education. And so neuroplasticity is something that's very powerful. I implore you to research it, to dive deeper into that concept and leverage it in your copy because it's a very, very profitable copywriting element to have in your toolbox. Now, the second reason is even more impressive. It is harmful to have ultraviolet rays fall on our eyes. Recognized as bad for skin, UV light is worse for eyes and is believed to play a role in many of today's eye diseases. In addition, people with contact lenses are at greater risk because contacts tend to magnify the light, thus increasing the sun's harmful effects. All right, so now he's really twisting the knife and explaining, hey, blue light is terrible for you. You thought UV light was bad. It's bad for your skin, causing cancer, whatever. Like, it didn't directly say it causes cancer, but we all know that, right? Like, UV light is bad for your skin. We associate that with the fact that it can cause cancers and lots of other diseases, skin diseases. But then he goes on to say, so that's an anchor we have as the average person, right? But then he goes on to say that UV light is worse for eyes. Okay, it is worse for eyes. So you thought it was bad for your skin. What's worse for your eyes? And that can drive some fear. That can drive this thought process of like, wow, I really need to protect my eyes. I haven't really thought about it that much. Like, I put sunscreen on, whatever, but I don't really protect my eyes. I need to take care of that. And so he goes on to even say, like, it's believed to play a role in many of today's eye diseases. And it's even worse for people that have contact lenses. Okay. A lot of people don't like to wear glasses, they like to wear contact lenses. So now, not only is he getting the average person, but he's getting the person that wears glasses, and then he's getting the person that wears contact lenses to buy into this idea of blue blockers, right? Now, whereas in addition, people with contact lenses are at greater risk because contacts tend to magnify the light, thus increasing the sun's harmful effects. All right. Sunglass danger. Finally, by eliminating the blue and UV light during the day, your night vision improves. The purple pigment in your eye, called rhodopsin, is affected by blue and ultraviolet light, and the eyes can take hours to recover from the damage. So now he's giving you a basis of what happens if you are a victim of this danger, right? If you allow yourself to become or you allow yourself to fall victim to this danger. And he's explaining how harmful it is, right? But what really surprised me was the danger in conventional sunglasses. Whoa, 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 whoa. What just happened there? You're saying that sunglasses don't even help me now? Okay, our pupils close in bright light to limit the light entering the eye and open wider at night, like the lens of an automatic camera. All right, I want to stop there too. Like the lens of an automatic camera. He is sharing an idea, he's educating you on an idea, but relating it to something that makes sense to you as the average person with the average level of knowledge, right? Everyone knows that the lens of a camera, an automatic camera, it's shifting its focus all the time, right? And so he relates it to that to just make it that much more digestible to the reader. Oftentimes when you're writing copy, you're going to want to do that. Sometimes you're going to have to take a really complicated idea and use analogies to simplify them and have them make sense to the reader in a very simplified format so they can digest it easily and they can continue through whatever copy you've written all the way to conversion. So when we put on sunglasses, although we reduce the amount of light that enters our eyes, our pupils open wider and we allow more of the harmful blue and ultraviolet light into our eyes. Very powerful, that last line. It's obvious that what's happening in that last line, right? He's built up in the last few paragraphs. Oh, blue is terrible. It's very harmful. You thought it was bad for your skin. It's even worse for your eyes. Blah blah blah. All the way to the point now, he's saying what you currently have, what you currently use, is actually not even helping. It's making it even worse. Okay, it's making things worse. So let's carry on. Don't be confused. I'm often asked by people who read this, do those blue blockers really work? They really do, and please give me the opportunity to prove it. I guarantee each pair of blue blockers to perform exactly as I described. So first of all, this is powerful because it's scannable, it's bolded. If a person doesn't read any of the sales letter in the beginning and they get to this part, don't be confused, whatnot, when they carry on, it's going to be just as powerful enough to capture a percentage of readers that maybe didn't read the full sales letter, but they started reading that don't be confused mark, and they will capture a percentage of readers that will convert into customers. So again, I want to reiterate the fact that it's important sometimes to make your copy scannable. Okay, you want to be intentional with what you make scannable. It's not just random letters you're bolding or random words that you're bolding because it looks cool and like this makes sense. Like no, you want to be very intentional. You want to bold specific lines for a specific reason. Okay, blue blocker sunglasses use opto or ophthalmic quality CR39 lenses with a hard anti-scratch coating. Over 85% of all doctors' prescriptions are now filled with CR39. I have taken no shortcuts. Okay, so now what he's doing is he's elevating the product in your mind as a reader, right? So he's relating the level of quality and the work taken to create this sort of product that is legitimately helpful. He has anchored himself to the likes of doctors, okay? Simply by using this line, over 85% of all doctors' prescriptions are now filled with CR39. And the fact that he uses CR39 lenses in the blue blocker glasses, now you have the reader has that association of top notch quality. Okay, it is proven, it is top notch, and people perceive doctors as a very high authority. And so now he's anchoring onto that level of authority and leveraging it for himself. And then that last line, I have taken no shortcuts. It's just emphasizing the fact like we've done everything we can to make this the best possible product. Okay. Now, the black lightweight anodized aluminum frame is one of the most comfortable I have ever worn and compares with many of the $200 pairs you can buy from France or Italy. Very powerful there. He's now describing the products. Okay, he's getting into that, and yeah, $200 pairs. Remember, $200 back then is a lot more in today's money due to inflation, and $200 was not an average price point for people to be spending for the average person to be spending back in the 80s. Um, and then on top of that, he's talking about the quality from France or Italy, which I'm assuming back then a lot of people perceived that to be of very high quality, even today. Now, the weakest link in any pair of glasses is the hinge. Okay, he's making this statement about a specific part of the product, and everyone can agree with that. Everyone that owns a pair of sunglasses or just regular glasses knows that the weakest link in any pair of glasses is the hinge. And then he goes on to, he's explaining the problem, and then he goes on to share the solution that he has designed and is providing. So I have designed a screwless precision two-way tension hinge that not only bends when you close the pair, but is spring-loaded to bend outward too. You get a completely flexible frame that will comfortably contour to your face. All right, now he's saying, okay, here's the problem that you've experienced, and you know this problem because if you have glasses, sunglasses, you face this problem. But guess what? With my blue blockers, that problem no longer exists. I have completely eliminated it. So you can see from the very beginning of this letter up until what the point I've read to now, he's just knocking out so many different objections. He's presenting problems that people are familiar with. He's presenting problems that people aren't familiar with and leveraging that concept of neuroplasticity. But with every problem he brings to light, he's providing a solution and he's emphasizing the solution that his product solves that or provides to the reader. Let's move on. So I also have two other exciting models. Okay, so he started with with the premium model, the aluminum deluxe, right? That's the highest priced model. But then he's saying, okay, well, if that's what you really want, but let's talk about the other two in case that's out of your budget, right? So I also have two other exciting models. One is a clip-on pair that weighs less than 1 ounce and fits over prescription lenses. And the second is a precision molded plastic frame that looks identical to the aluminum model, but without the tension hinge. Okay. All models include a padded carrying case and my personal 1-year no nonsense limited warranty. Powerful for many reasons, this paragraph, okay? So, first, he's giving you options, right? Second, He's allowing you to decide whether that, what's it called, that spring loaded or that tension hinge, screwless precision two-way tension hinge, he's giving you the option to decide whether that's worth it to you or not. If it's not, cool, you can still buy a pair of blue blockers without it. If it is, cool, you need to get the aluminum deluxe at a higher price point. Either way, someone's getting a pair of blue blockers here. All right. Something else that you want to leverage as a copywriter or within your copy is something that he did very nicely here and very subtly here, is that all models include a padded carrying case. Okay, so it's almost like, how do we translate this to modern uh, e-commerce? So get this with a free gift, right? It's pretty much saying you're getting a free gift or you're getting a complimentary item that will make your life easier, that will protect your glasses, etc. And his personal 1 year no nonsense limited warranty. And if you pay attention to this, he frames it in a way that piques your curiosity. Okay, what is a 1 year no nonsense limited warranty? What's a no nonsense limited warranty? What does that entail? So naturally, that's going to get the reader to continue reading the letter all the way to the point of call to action so that they can convert. So, next paragraph. I urge you to order a pair and experience your improved vision. Then take your old sunglasses and compare them to the blue blocker sunglasses. See how much clearer and sharper objects appear with the blue blocker pair, and see if your night vision doesn't improve as a direct result. If you don't see a dramatic difference in your vision, one so noticeable that you can tell immediately, then send them back anytime within 30 days and I will send you a prompt and courteous refund. So now he's got a guarantee. It's a very powerful guarantee. So there will be times where you will want to implement this within your copy. If your brand or a brand you're working with has a guarantee or is open to establishing some sort of guarantee, make it as powerful as possible. And this is very powerful. 30 days, you know, get the product, test it out. If you don't see what you like, then send it back and I'll give you a prompt and courteous refund. Okay. And then on top of that, the 1 year no nonsense limited warranty, you can infer pretty much that if something as ridiculous as you having your sunglasses in your back pocket and you sit on it like a fool, they'll replace it. Okay. So little things like that just contribute to the overall offer and make it that much more of a no brainer. Let's move on. Dramatic difference. But from what I've personally witnessed, once you wear a pair, there will be no way you'll want to return it. Okay. He's just hyping up the customer or the reader. He's hyping up the reader so that they become a customer. And again, remember where we started. He started just from telling a true story. Okay. That where he was met with skepticism, or he met his friend with skepticism around the product. And eventually he went from being super skeptical to now saying, you will not want to return your pair after wearing it. That's a huge shift. And he's pretty much just taken the reader from, hey, I know you're super skeptical. I am too. All the way to, hey, you gotta have a pair of blue blockers. You will not regret it. Okay. And then over here, he elevates the perception of the product and tries to get the product at the same level of association that people have with people such as pilots, golfers, hunters, athletes. You know, people regard them in a higher esteem, right? So the next paragraph: pilots, golfers, hunters, athletes, and anyone who spends a great deal of time in the sun, who drives a car, who just wants to protect their vision, all will find blue blocker sunglasses indispensable. Okay, so pilots who fly planes closer to the sun at a higher altitude will value it. Okay, well, me as an average Joe, I will most likely value it then. Golfers who are just they have so much finesse as an athlete when they golf. If they value, okay, me as the average Joe should value it. Hunters that shoot um deer and they're hunting deer or whatever from 400, 500, 800 yards away. If they value these classes, I should value them as well. Athletes, professional athletes that uh, they're just at the highest level possible. They've dedicated their life. If they're going to enjoy this, or if they're going to find value in it, then me as the average Joe, I'll find value in it as well. And then he's pretty much putting everyone at the same table. look, if you're in the sun, at the end of the day, if you're in the sun a great deal, or you drive a car, or you just want to protect your vision, blue blockers are what you need. Okay. And he finally closes out with, our eyes are very important to us. Protect them. And at the same time, improve your vision with the most incredible breakthrough in sunglasses since they were first introduced. Very simple call to action. Order a pair or two at no obligation today. Credit card holders call toll free and order by product number below or send a check plus $3 for postage and handling. Aluminum Deluxe with the product number and the price. Clip on model, product number, price. Precision plastic, product number, and price. And then a very clear instruction, cut this out and order. Now, that's an element that is very important that you want to leverage in your copy, because oftentimes you can write the best email, you can write the best ad, you can write the best piece of direct mail, the best sales letter, whatever. But if you are not clear with the action that needs to be taken, sometimes, or most of the time, your conversion rate will fall. Oftentimes, people need clear direction. Okay? They need clear direction so they know exactly what next step to take. And sometimes you need to guide them through that process. So that's an element that you want to leverage. Now, if you look at this sales letter overall, you'll notice that they have an image that aids the letter. It catches attention. It doesn't sell it because it just looks like a regular pair of sunglasses. You can even see the caption below saying they look like sunglasses. In this sense, like for example, if we were to translate to email, because as you know, I am for copy driven emails versus pretty emails, mainly because copy is what moves the needle forward. And the sales letter proves it. Otherwise, 90% of the sales letter wouldn't have been words, it would have just been images. Um, that's something that you want to take into consideration, is that if there's an image that will aid your copy, use it. There's no harm in doing so. And then also notice how he met the reader where they are at mentally. Okay, he didn't start this off by saying, "Oh my gosh, this thing is incredible. It's an incredible breakthrough. Let me educate you on this." Well, no, he started with a story and he said, "I'm skeptical. I'm just like you. I am skeptical." That's exactly what he was telling the reader in the very beginning. Hey, you see this ad? Hey man, like I think it's cool, but I'm actually really skeptical. Let me explain what I was skeptical about. And let me explain how I actually completely changed my mind and you absolutely need a pair. All right, so those are different elements that you want to leverage, is meet the reader where they're at. Provide clear instruction with your call to action. Make your copy scannable so that it can re-engage people that to read the whole letter who otherwise wouldn't have. And be intentional with the words you're using. For example, the headline here is Vision Breakthrough. Breakthrough signifies that something incredible happened, that there was uh, a new piece of information that someone ingested and it's important that you know, or it furthered us along in some way, shape, or form, and will further us along in some way, shape, or form as a society, as a person. It'll give you an edge, etc. And then leverage a lot of curiosity, pique people's curiosity, okay? Because if someone's not even curious enough to read the first line, you're done. You're done. Your first line has to continue to pique the curiosity and carry someone through a story, through that opportunity of education, through that opportunity of elevation of your product, all the way through to that opportunity for the call to action and them to purchase. Okay, now there are things that could have been done a little bit better, but I'm not saying that this is a bad sales letter. I'm just saying nowadays there are certain things that I would potentially change or actually expand upon. But this is a multi-million dollar sales letter, and they sold thousands and thousands of this blue blocker. And if you look at the price point, you do the math, minimum they did a million, but I'm confident they did a couple or a few million if I remember correctly. So, with that said, here, let me get out of here. I want to encourage you to study sales letters, okay? Because this is something that I did to increase my education or to refine my education when it comes to copywriting. Just study the greats from back then, okay? Because they know what they did, and it was much harder. Okay, that's something that I do is I study people, study advertisers, I study copywriters that executed back when email didn't exist, back when the online world didn't exist. So they had to use direct mail, which is a lot tougher, and they couldn't waste money, right? They needed to be profitable on the first time around, so they needed to actually execute at a very high level and use everything they could to generate that conversion first time around, and then they can go back and try to recapture people, follow up with different touch points, different angles. But right now I just shared with you some elements that you can insert into your copywriting toolbox. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you found value in it, like it, subscribe it, share it, or subscribe to the channel and share it. And let me know down in the comments as well if you want to see something more in depth. This video was a free flow conversation, free flow analysis. But if you want to see something more in depth where I pick it apart and I have actual notes and a deeper analysis on a sales letter for copywriting or for anything, let me know in the comments and I'll jump on it. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.